LOL take two. LOL take two. LOL take two. Now listen. We human beings seem obsessed with numbers ending in zero. I remember driving down Hollywood Boulevard in 2002 when my fabulous 1974 Mercedes 450 SL, or the Contessa as I called her, hit 200,000 miles on the odometer. I had to pull over, snap a picture, and frankly, wipe a tear from my eye. In 1999, shortly before mankind turned the odometer over to the year 2000, there was all kinds of millennium hysteria. People were doing huge celebrations, yet there was worldwide fear that all the computers would stop working, planes would fall out of the sky, and the world would end as we know it. Just to be on the safe side, Bill and I decided to stay home that year and have our own celebration with our favorite foods. With so many IKEA tea candles lit, we were burning our own hole in the ozone. And most importantly, we had pictures of Brazilian caipirinha cocktails. Obviously, the world didn't end when the new century turned over a zero, but if it had, we were so bombed we wouldn't have cared. This year, my personal odometer was officially turning over to 60. 60. I really didn't worry too much about it. Hell, at this stage of my life, I certainly have known a slew of people who haven't made it to 60 because, well, they're dead, so I figure I'm a step ahead of the game. I did begin prefacing things as my 60th year this or that, the 60th year check-in with the financial planner. This year, at my 60th year annual physical, I stole an idea from Bill. So after the bloodletting, where you normally strip down to your birthday suit and sit there naked wrapped in a piece of thin paper that's sticking to your perspiring underarms and ass, this 60th year, I brought a bathrobe. This is the point in the physical where my fantastic doctor wants to hear all your business and catch up on how you're doing with your life, all before the laying of hands and the big finale, the prostate exploratory. I asked my doctor if I was the only one of his patients who was actually sad to see many aspects of COVID go away. I mean, it wasn't all bad for me, and a part of me didn't want to go completely back to before. He said, absolutely not. A lot of people feel the same way I do. He said, just keep the stuff that worked for you and let the rest of the stuff that you don't want to deal with go. Good advice. Now drop the robe, roll over, and pull up your knees. One other thing that affected this odometer turning year was a visit back to my mom's house in Iowa. She, too, had an odometer turning birthday this year and had decided after 52 years to sell our family home that I had spent 11 of my most formative and, let's face it, turbulent years in. There's always a certain nostalgic quality to my Iowa visits. The garage still smells exactly as it did when we used to put on plays and musicals in it. My old bedroom that my dad built when he finished the basement still has the eastern morning sunlight streaming in just like it was when I was dreading going to Urbandale Junior High or St. Pius X for Mass on Sundays. When each kid moved out, Mom made it clear that there were to be no shrines kept to the children, no leftover Farrah Fawcett or Kiss posters stuck to the bedroom walls, no bookcases containing the World Book encyclopedias or your Archie comic book collection. Take your stuff with you, and anything left over would have to fit in a single plastic tub that had your name on it. I know, it sounds kind of Marie Kondo on acid harsh, but yeah, that's why her house was still in great shape 52 years later. When I was there, Mom said I was to clean out the Tony tub and take its contents with me or throw it away. Now, these tubs are not your basic container store tubs, which look like, oversized Tupperware. These are huge. Mine could have slept the entire Brady Bunch family in it, plus Alice the maid and her boyfriend, Sam the butcher. I figured the task would be a little daunting, but I had no idea until I sat down on the basement floor to actually go through the Tony tub. It contained report cards, letters, VHS tapes I had sent home, thank you notes, things I had written at school, all my Cub Scout, Webelos, and Boy Scout accoutrements, you name it. I started going through it one night, and almost 2 hours later, I had barely made a dent in it. After sitting on the floor for 2 hours, I could barely stand up either. Every piece brought back a specific memory, some good, some bad, some hilarious. I even found this red 3-ring binder from college and my early years in LA that documented all my goals and daily actions I was taking to achieve them, who I was sleeping with at the time, how many times, and the sordid details spelled out in acronyms. Oh my God, I was like Tony Robbins meets The Young and the Restless, and boy was I restless. I told Mom there are like 1,000 podcast ideas in here. It took 2 days, over 8 hours total, to clean out the Tony tub. Half of it went into a suitcase, which I brought back home, half into a garbage bag, and many of those things photographed and scanned with the precision of National Geographic documenting the mummies of Egypt. But no, I was documenting a gay kid's Iowa journey. Back home in LA, I have started in on the Tony tub stuff I brought home because, well, I don't have any place to keep it either. I live in an almost 100-year-old house. I have no basement, no attic. Well, I do have an attic, but it's filled with a big furnace and shiny silver ductwork going to all the vents. It looks like some gay disco habit trail up there. And I have tiny closets because I guess 100 years ago, people only had 5 pieces of clothing. Yeah, actually, I don't mind that as much since I'm not a clothes whore. In fact, I would probably make a good Amish person and be happy wearing only 3 outfits my entire life. And driving a buggy. And looking at all this stuff, it kind of blows me away how ambitious I was. But boy, did I worry and stress about all the goals and tasks, and some of them worked out nicely, some of them didn't at all, and some of them just didn't pan out the way I had thought. But then there were the things that just seemed to fall into my lap and were creatively fantastic or financially profitable. Would those things have happened without all that angst and worry that I put myself through back then? I wonder, but obviously you can't go back at this point for a redo. But you can drop all that stuff going forward. And 60 seems a perfect time to drop the worry, the pre-COVID things I don't want to go back to. I look at yearly and monthly and weekly goal lists now like ancient relics in my own Tony museum. Yeah, maybe if I hadn't beat myself up trying to accomplish so much stuff in my remote youth, I'd have more hair now. Oh well. In 2019, we'd been thinking about taking a trip to Iceland as neither of us had been there. COVID soon reared its head, and obviously that didn't happen. But when I began looking at where I wanted to be on my 60th birthday, I thought, well, why not Iceland? I still had the Rick Steves guidebook. So we did it. We drove the entire stunning country, all 800 miles clockwise. Well, actually, Bill drove and I navigated and curated the music. It's important. We ended our last 2 nights staying at the famous Blue Lagoon Retreat Hotel, arriving on my 60th birthday. It was heaven. Bill got me an in-water massage on the official day. They laid me on this float in a private lagoon connected to our hotel, my eyes and body covered in the 104-degree water keeping me warm while the outside temperature was 48 degrees. I was given an amazing massage by this really hot Czech guy named Aleš with the strongest hands and adorable smile. After the massage, he whispered in my ear that he was leaving me floating and I could float as long as I wanted. My first thought was to say, "You don't want to stay and just hug for a little while?" But we didn't, and I floated for another half hour and thought, holy crap, I'm in the friggin' Blue Lagoon. What a way to turn this odometer over. So many of my friends from high school and college are also hitting the 60th milestone this year. And, some people are trying to be so nonchalant about it. Oh, it's just a number. 60 is really the new 40. I'm sorry, that is total nonsense. 60 is 60. For 5 decades, I have flung around the sun like some kind of yuppie cosmic tetherball. And I want full credit for each and every one of those 59 years, damn it.
LOL take 2. LOL take 2. LOL take 2.